Hi everyone, it's Hannah from Hand Jam Crochet, and today in the tutorial we are making these lacy crochet headbands together. Now there are a couple of different options. I'll put all the information in the description below for where to find the pattern, but we're going to give you the option of making either in a worsted weight yarn to make a slightly wider and longer version, or in fingering weight yarn that I have here, which is much more delicate, and I've given it tapered ends for you to tie underneath or on top of your head. You can style this so many different ways. So the pattern includes all the information for all of these designs. So have a look in the description below, grab your version of the pattern, and then come back to me and we'll get going. To make the headbands, I chose to use comfy yarn from WeCrochet, and it comes in worsted weight and also in fingering weight in matching colours. So you can work any of these designs in any of these yarns. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and a needle for your ends. And then if you're working with the fingering weight yarn, you'll need a 3.5mm crochet hook. Or if you are working with the worsted weight, you will need a 5mm crochet hook. Now gauge isn't absolutely essential in this pattern, so I would just have a go. Don't tell anyone I said that, but just have a go and see what it works out for you and see if that gives you a comfortable drape, because we want it to be nice and loose and gentle to sit carefully around your head. To begin with, I am going to show you in this worsted weight yarn how to do the main stitch pattern. Now, whether you're using fingering weight or worsted weight, this main stitch is exactly the same for both designs and the same stitch count as well. So once we've mastered that together, you can either carry on in the worsted weight for as long as you want your headband to be, or you can work in this fingering weight, and then I will show you how to add these tapered tails on and do the border around the whole thing. So let's go with this worsted weight yarn and have a look at this lacy stitch. So to begin either version of the headband, we are going to put a slip knot on the hook, and then we're going to chain 14. Then when we have our 14 chains, we are going to start working back into them. Into that second chain from the hook, we are going to work a single crochet. Now once that single crochet is complete, we are going to begin our lace wedge stitch. And this may look odd and feel odd, but I promise it works. We're going to chain 6. Then working back along that chain 6 that we've just made, we are going to work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Then we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next chain, and then into the next one we're going to work a double crochet. We'll chain 1, then we skip the next chain, and then in this last chain that we have here before that single crochet that we made at the beginning of the row, we are going to work a double treble stitch. So we're going to yarn over 3 times, and then we're going to insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull through. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And that's our lovely long stitch, and you can see the beginning of our wedge stitch. Now we need to join that to our foundation chain that we have here. So what we're going to do is skip 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then into the next chain we are going to work a single crochet, and that will flatten that across the bottom there, but then add a point up at the top here. And then next we need to repeat what we've just done, so chain 6, and then working back along that chain 6, we single crochet into the second chain from the hook, we chain 1, we skip the next chain, and then double crochet into the next one, we chain 1, and then we skip the next chain, and then double treble into that last chain that we have there. Now all we need to do is skip the next 5, and then in the very last chain we're going to work a single crochet, and that will be our first row complete. Now I know it looks very odd, but this is exactly what we need it to look like, because on our next row, when each of these wedge stitches are 2 rows worth of crochet, it will fill in these gaps for us. So let's do that now. We're going to turn, then we're going to chain 5, and then at the top of this that we have here, we have a single crochet. So we're going to put a single crochet into that single crochet at the top of that wedge stitch there. And now we have our chains facing us that we did and we worked into, and what we need to do is mirror them. So we have a single crochet into this first chain that we have here, and that matches up with the single crochet that is already there in it. Then we chain 1, we skip 1, and then we double crochet into the next. We chain 1, we skip 1, and then we work our lovely long double treble into that last one there. So then when you've done those, just pull back a little and make sure that you check that they are matching up and lining up. So we have single crochets lining up, we have double crochets lining up, and then we have our lovely tall stitches lining up there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to skip all of this and look for the single crochet in the next wedge stitch that we have. And that gets a single crochet in it. So we're just going to work pretty much what we've just worked there already. Single crochet goes in there. Then we're ready to work down this side now and work a single crochet into the next chain. We chain 1, we skip 1, then we double crochet, we chain 1, we skip 1, and then we're going to now work a double treble 2 together over these last 2 stitches. So that's the stitch that the long stitch is already in there, and then that last single crochet. So that looks like this. We're going to yarn over 3 times and put our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we stop at that point. Right, we don't complete that stitch there because we're going to work this and the next stitch together. So we now yarn over 3 times and into the last stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then you just work as you would normally, yarn over and pull through 2 up until we've got 3 loops left on the hook, and then we yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. And that is our first 2 rows complete, and this is exactly what it should look like. So now to begin row 3, because rows 3 and 4 are really similar to that, and they then form the repeat. So once we've done 3 and 4, you'll know everything you need to know. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into that first stitch there. Then, as we did before, we're going to chain 6, and then working back along that chain, we're going to single crochet in that second chain from the hook. We'll chain 1, we skip 1, then we double crochet in the next. We chain 1, we skip 1, and then we work our long double treble stitch in that last chain that we have there. And then whereas before we skipped 5 chains, we're now going to skip 5 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have a chain, a double crochet, chain, single crochet, and then we're going to work a single crochet into the next stitch. Then we're ready to chain 6 again. And then off we go down that chain 6, working a single crochet, a chain 1, a skip 1, double crochet, a chain 1, skip 1, and then our long double treble in that last one. Then we skip all the way to that last stitch and we single crochet in there. And then we're ready to turn and work row 4, which is exactly the same as row 2. So we chain 5, and then in that single crochet there at the top, we are going to work a single crochet, and that means we're now ready to work back along this wedge stitch here by working a single crochet in that first one, chain one, skip one, then double crochet in the next, chain one, skip one, and then our long double treble stitch in the last one. Just pause after you've done that just to make sure they all line up, and then we can find the single crochet of the next wedge stitch, and we're going to put a single crochet in it, and then work our way down just as we did before with a single crochet, chain one, skip one, a double crochet, a chain one, skip one, and then we're going to double treble two together. So we start our first one here, but then we don't finish, and then we're going to start the next one in that last single crochet that we have, and you're going to yarn over and pull through two until you just have 3 loops left on the hook, and then you yarn over and pull through all 3. So that's it, that's all there is to the main stitch pattern that we have. And if you're working the worsted weight headband, then you can just carry on for as long as you like. There is guidance in the pattern, and you can use this as a headband, you can use it as a scarf, you could make it bigger and you can make it into kind of a sarong. There are lots of different things that you could do now that you know this stitch design here. But if you're going to be working the fingering weight headbands, once you have done, I've done 14 sets of this stitch in here, but you can do as many as you like for this center section. Once you have made that section, come back to me and I will show you how we do these tapered ends. Okay, so with our fingering weight version, I have worked the 14 repeats to get 14 wedge stitches here. And now what I'm going to do is start working in just single crochets to make this tail. So we have across here now, we have 13 stitches, and that's going to be our first stitch count for this next row. I've turned and I've chained one there. And then I'm just going to work a single crochet into each of the stitches and chains here across. So that's a chain there, that's number 2. Then we have 3, 4, 5, 6. Just make sure you catch both of those single crochets together. And then we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 13 will be in the top of that chain 5 that we have there. So at this point, don't worry about the fact that this is pulling outwards, because the thing about this is that once we have done the tail, it will seem a lot wider at this point than you want it to be, than the main body. But this, as you'll see on my other example here, needs a really good block. So your lace will sort itself out beautifully once we have pinned and blocked it. So please don't worry at this point. Then the next thing we need to do for the next row is turn our work. We are going to chain one, and then we're just going to work a single crochet in each of the stitches across. So your stitch count at the moment stays the same, and what we're going to do is work a total of 12 rows with this stitch count. So this is row 2 that I'm on now. So carry on until you have completed 12 rows of these single crochet stitches. So once we have worked those 12 rows, we're ready to work our first decrease. And the way that we're going to do that is over the first 2 stitches of the row, we are just going to work a single crochet 2 together. So we begin a single crochet in that first stitch, and then we start a second single crochet in the second stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then with all 3 loops on the hook, we yarn over and pull through all of them. And that is how we're going to decrease all the way down this tail, and we're going to do that at the beginning of the row and at the end of the row. So these last 2 stitches will be exactly the same as we've just done there. Up until then, we're going to work a single crochet in each of the stitches across. So now we single crochet 2 together at the end here, and that will have taken our stitch count down by 2. So we started with 13, now we're on 11, and we're ready to turn. and we're going to do as we did before. We're going to chain one, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the stitches across. But remember, now we'll have 11 and not 13 stitches. And so then we just repeat. Once we've finished this row, we're going to repeat then for a total of 12 rows of our 11 stitches. So this is our second row that we're doing here with 11 stitches in it. So once we've completed here, you're going to turn, chain one, and then you'll work 10 more rows of that 11 stitches. Gosh, that's a lot of numbers there, isn't it? So 10 more rows of what we've just done there. And then after that, we just carry on decreasing in the same way. So that's our first set here. We're going to go down to 11 stitches there, and then 9, then 7, then 5, and then 3. So carry on all the way down, and each of those sets get 12 rows worth. But obviously if you want to change that, you can make it longer, you can make it shorter. This was just a comfortable, very comfortable length for me to then just tie, not in a bow but in a knot, because that's how it felt comfortable for me. But do feel free to adjust yours and decrease at whichever point you would like to. And then when you've got to the end of your tail and you're happy that it's the length you want it, then meet me back here and I will show you how we break our yarn and then work the tail on the other side. Okay, so now I've finished all of those rows and I'm going to break this yarn, because what we now need to do is join to the other side of our lacy section here. And you're going to want to make sure that you have the right side facing you. So just match for the stitches that you've done on the other side. And all we're going to do, we have a chain here at the bottom, and we're going to work a single crochet in each of these chains. This is our foundation chain that we worked at the beginning. So all we need to do is join to this very first chain here. Then I'm just going to chain one to get going, and then I'm going to work a single crochet there in that first one, and then in each of our chains from the foundation chain across. So this will match the other side, and you'll end up with 13 stitches along here. And then all we need to do is mirror what we just did on the other tail and work our 12 rows worth of each section. And then the first row of each of those 12 will then decrease to get rid of one stitch at the beginning and one stitch at the end of the row, until you are left with just 3 stitches at the end, just like the other side. So go ahead and work that, and then when you've finished that, don't break your yarn. Meet me back here and I will show you how we work a really, really simple border all the way around the edge of the headband. So now I've completed that second tie. I haven't broken my yarn, because what we're going to be doing is working all the way along the edges of these rows, all the way along the lace here and around the other side to create a nice little border around it. And we're going to do that just using single crochet stitches. So we're going to begin by working into the side of that first row there. So a single crochet into it, and then into the next row and the next, and just get your rhythm here and decide where you're going to work. So I generally split the side of one stitch on the row, and then I work into that little space that we have for the next row there. Then I'm going to split this stitch and then work into the space for the next one. But you just work out how you would like it to be, but it gives a really nice neat finish if we work it like that. And so carry on doing this single crochet for each row up until you get to the end of this tie. And then meet me back here and I'll just show you how simple it is to work along the edge of the lace stitch too. Now here we are at where our lace wedge stitch begins, and all we're going to be doing is working six single crochet along the side of each wedge stitch. Now in this direction, that's really nice and easy because we have a single crochet and then we have 5 chains, so they all get a stitch in them. And then when we come to this end, let's work along. We're going to carry on and do what we did around here with the single crochet in the side of each row, and then go across these last 3 stitches that we have here at the end, down this other side that's twisting itself around, down this other side here, and then when we get to this side here, flip it around so you can see, we have a stitch to work down. So you just need to make sure that you put 5 stitches into the side of that long stitch and then 1 stitch into the single crochet that you have underneath it. So essentially 6 stitches per side of the lace wedge stitches that we have here. And then you'll carry on along this side here until we are back ready to join at the beginning again. Now once you've got back round to where you started, you need to just slip stitch in that first stitch and then break your yarn. Now all that you need to do next is weave in your ends, and then if we compare it to the other one, you can see the difference that a good blocking will make to this. Now remember I said that this is all wonky and is bigger than your lace stitch at the moment. Well, once you have blocked it, it will be lovely and straight and neat, and it will also help pull out this lace detail stitch here and make it sit just nice and flat and even. Now if you are working the worsted version and don't have the tails on it, then it would still benefit from a lovely block because it will still have this kind of wiggly look until you pull the lace stitches out. So then once it's all blocked and sorted, you are good to go and wear it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed making this little headband. If you do make one, come and show me on social media. Find me, Hand Jam Crochet, all the places you'd expect me to be. And do remember to subscribe and tap the bell button here, and then you'll get notified when I come out with new pattern releases.